Okay, so I'm so happy to be here with Carol, who has been a long time CYB member. I should have looked back to when you first joined, but it's been a while you've been with us, and you've become such a wonderful member of the community, and you've become sort of a mentor to so many other people. I know that you're still on your journey, as we all are, doing the work, but I also see in the community how you support and light up other people. And so I'm so excited to be chatting with you today and sort of picking your brain about the CYB experience for anybody who's, maybe on the fence or scared, and understandably so. So I'm excited to chat about what it's been like for you. So welcome.
Thank you.
So I would love to start by just talking a bit about pre-CYB, before you ever met me, before our paths crossed. What was it all like for you, like with food before? What was going on? How were you feeling? What were you struggling with? What was frustrating? Just
right. So
talk to me about that.
Two things. The first is that I really used food as a reward for myself, for keeping all the balls that I was juggling, for keeping all of those balls in the air. I deserve treats. So I deserve a treat. I deserve a cookie for when I stop at Tim Hortons, or I deserve something special because I'm keeping everything else together.
Right.
And the second thing is that I didn't listen to my body at all. I just ate in response. I had so many food habits, and I ate in response to those habits. And I was completely unaware that that was going on. So I was just eating on autopilot. I was going through life on autopilot. And I just feel like, those are my two big learnings.
Right. How different it was before, because those are obviously big things we talk about in CYB. So that's fantastic. And again, I'm sure something that so many people can relate to. Like I'm sure people are nodding, like you're telling my story, right? And certainly that's what I was like before too, that especially the rewarding, that after the day I've had, I deserve this, we're using food as like self-care. Yeah. Okay, amazing. So people tell me all the time when we do open enrollment for CYB that they're interested, maybe they have friends or family that have been through it and, talk really highly of it, but they're terrified because understandably, right? Like I've tried so many things and I've wasted so much money, and I can't bear to try something else and have it fail again. So what was your sort of biggest fear? I'm sure you felt similar. You're nodding away, like you know exactly how they felt. So what was the biggest fear for you back then about joining CYB, but also just about all of this, how frustrating and what you were struggling with? Like, what were you afraid of? What was keeping you up at night?
Yeah. So I had also done it all. All the different programs, and I've been successful in some and not successful in others. So I think I had two fears. The first was that I wouldn't succeed at all, that I wouldn't lose any weight at all, and I would have wasted a whole bunch of money and not been any further ahead. And I think the second fear was that I would succeed and then I would gain the weight back. And so, because that had also happened before. So I think I was very afraid that history would just repeat itself, and I would have again thrown money at something and not solve the problem.
Yeah, because as you say, we've done that so many times. I think it's totally natural to be afraid because again, I was right there with you. I'd done Weight Watchers, done all the things, bought all the books, tried all the things. And there's almost like a shame that comes with it, that you're like, I can't do this. Like I'll be so embarrassed and there'll be so much shame if I try this again and fail. And so, so definitely people aren't alone when they feel that way. Okay, so then what are the biggest changes that you've really noticed in your relationship with food since doing CYB? What have been the biggest changes?
So the biggest, most definite change is that I've really learned to listen to my body. So my body tells me when it's hungry. My body tells me what foods are going to serve me well, that I'm going to feel good after I eat them. And since I focus on, my focus has I completely, or I'm going to say 90% of the time, focus on eating good, healthy, whole foods. So I've explored different more plant-based options, and the different recipes. I find everything so flavorful. So I've always loved food.
Yeah.
And I find that I still love food. But the food that I love now is also good for me. I also feel good when I finish eating it. So that's huge.
I
And
love
the
it.
other
So not a
thing is,
diet, but like listening
it's
to your
not a
body
diet.
and just focusing on whole foods. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not counting points. I'm not counting calories. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm just, when I'm hungry, I'm eating, and I'm usually making choices that serve me well. And when I want a bag of Miss Vicky's spicy ketchup chips, I eat them, but I eat them mindfully. I enjoy the flavor. I enjoy the texture, and I enjoy the food while I eat it. I'm not just opening a bag and scarfing it down and not even noticing that I've had it.
Fantastic. Okay, good. So listening to your body. Yeah. And also I think part and parcel of that, like trusting your body, right? Because I
Yes.
think sometimes like we listen, but then we have to trust ourselves that this is what we need and that we've had enough. And, when your body's hungry, to actually feed it. A lot of people just don't, again, dieting teaches us to just not trust our bodies. And so
Right.
that's why in CYB, that's such a big sort of pillar of the philosophy behind the program, is really speaking your body's language and trusting it. So great. Okay, so how would you best describe the way you generally feel about your relationship with food and this work to create a healthier lifestyle now? Like, again, as I'm always super transparent about the fact that this is always ongoing. It's work, right? I mean, it's not like you get to the finish line and you're there, I'm done, I checked the box, I never have to think about that again. I know a lot of people would love that, but I don't think that's how it really works. I always say I don't have any magic beans. So this is sort of an ongoing journey, but how do you generally feel about that and about your relationship with food now?
Right. So I just feel like I'm in control now. Like, I'll usually make myself a delicious meal, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll eat when I'm hungry. I Prior to starting CYB, I don't think I'd felt hunger in years. I don't think because I remember the first time thinking, what is that feeling? So now I know what that feeling's like. And I know that I can enjoy something delicious and satisfying, and not have to feel awful after. I can still
Yeah,
feel good after that experience.
good.
And the other change that I've made is exercise.
Oh,
Um, Prior to CYB, exercise was I used to sporadically include exercise in my life. In January and September, and when I was doing Weight Watchers.
right. Those 6
But
weeks,
it never
6
became
weeks in the
part
early
of
year.
Yeah, it never became part of my day-to-day life. Whereas now, I walk on the treadmill and do some strengthening exercises almost every day.
Wow.
And not because I'm tracking on a fitness tracker, but just because I know that I'll feel better when I do it.
Mm.
And what that's opened up for me is that I can now go on hikes. I can now, like when my family's going on a hike, or friends are going on a hike, I can join them. I can explore, and I can feel confident that I can do that, and then I'm not going to be embarrassed and not make it.
I love that. And that ties in beautifully to what you were saying earlier about listening to your body, right? It's not just about the food. It's like you're hearing your body's messages now about that it wants to move, right? Again, it's not because
Right.
you're tracking you have to hit the gym or like do some workout that you're forced to do. It's like, no, my body wants to move. And so I'm going to do that. And maybe it's just a gentle way, maybe it's just a few minutes, but like it's about listening to your body and having that self-love, that we talk about in CYB, about coming from a place of self-love where you want to nourish your body and you want to care for your body instead of seeing your body as the enemy, which I think is what dieting does, in so many of those programs. So I love that. I know I love your story, but I often think about and tell people your story of your family walks, and how I know that was a goal for you when we started, because some of those years and those family walks that you guys do as a tradition, you couldn't participate in. And you would kind of have to stay home while everyone else was going out walking.
I mean, it's a trail like 3 blocks from my house that everyone would go on, and I didn't try it because it's a challenging trail. It's not There's hills, and there's but I just love it. It's part of what we do, and I can join in now.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's such a tangible way that this is like, can really change your life. So I love that. So again, as we kind of mentioned, I'm sure, and you even already alluded to the fact that you've tried lots of other things in the past, as so many people have when they kind of, first meet me or come to CYB. So why do you think CYB has been so different? Like, what was it about it that was different that helped you finally make these changes?
Right. So you say it all the time that the number on the scale doesn't determine your value as a person. And I think that I don't think I truly believed that until spending time in this program. So personally, I've recently just stopped weighing myself completely because I was giving it too much control again.
Yeah.
So I've just sort of taken that off the table.
Yeah.
And when I joined you, I lost 100 pounds in over a sort of 2.5 year period.
Right.
And over the past year and a half or a couple of years, I've gained some of that back.
Right.
But lifetime access means that I can keep returning to the material. I can keep reviewing and reminding myself of things that I might have forgotten.
Yeah.
And it also means that I get to be part of the community of women. The community of women are so supportive. They're all doing the same dance. We're all doing the same thing. And we can celebrate our successes and support each other when we're not where we want to be. So it's really been amazing.
Yeah, that community. I was just talking to someone about that group, and I was just saying today that I feel like that group in many ways is the best thing about the program because it's such an amazing supportive community. It's hard to explain to people that aren't in there how just non-judgmental and vulnerable people are and supportive, and it just makes me so happy. So I'm glad that that's things. Yeah.
And then also because my value isn't determined by the number on the scale, there's no shame involved. It's not, you're not feeling that anymore. I'm just I'm getting curious about things. I'm sort of noticing, oh, look, that old habit's coming back in. And I wonder why that is. And I wonder what's going on there. And so it's a totally different outlook on changes, whether they're good changes or bad changes. It's a different outlook on them.
Yeah. And a different outlook that's just a nicer way to live, don't you think? In terms of like the rest of your life, instead of that constant fight with the scale and with just sort of hating yourself a little bit. At least that's how I used to feel, like just feeling so frustrated and angry with myself all the time. I've really let go of all that. And I feel like that's what a lot of people happens for people in CYB, that we come at it from a more loving perspective and from curiosity. I always say, like, replace judgment with curiosity. And that's sort of one of our mantras in the program. And I think it's just a nicer way to live and a nicer way to do this dance that is probably going to be ongoing. So absolutely. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's key.
Amazing. Well, you've kind of already answered this question, but when you first decided to invest in CYB, were you afraid that it would be just another thing that you would try and fail at?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. But you took the leap. You were brave.
And the approach is just so different. It's so I remember at the beginning, looking back one day and thinking, wow, when I look at what I'm eating so much, like I'm eating healthy foods and I'm eating so much less than I once was, but I'm not focusing on that.
Right.
So it's not about that. It's about all the changes that you're making in your head.
Exactly. I always say that. I always say it's not about the food. Of course it's about the food, but it's not about the food. The food part is kind of easy. I know people don't want to hear that, but it kind of is. The world makes it very complicated, but really it's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. It's all the other stuff that makes it so hard. Like you say, all the stuff in your head that makes it so hard. So that's why that's really what we focus on in CYB.
Right.
Amazing. And then one thing I always love to hear from people is, have the CYB tools and learnings helped you in other aspects of your life beyond just diet and exercise?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really has affected everything. I've learned so much about myself. I'm really setting goals for what I want to do with the rest of my life and where I want to see things go. I feel like I'm living much more intentionally. Things like mindfulness and journaling and meditation weren't really part of what I did. But now they are. They're really part of daily life and really make a difference in focus and living intentionally. It's really important.
Yeah, it's why I talk about it in module 1, like that idea of living intentionally, that I think, I'm sure for some people it sort of comes out of left field. Like, I thought I was here to lose weight. Like, why is she talking about intentional living? But it to me, it's really the foundation of it all. It's like you have to be sort of designing the life that you want to create for yourself. And you need that sort of structure then, because then the healthy choices and the healthy lifestyle sort of flows from there. Otherwise we're trying to kind of force those healthier behaviors that we've been told we should do onto this old, as I always say, like that old operating system that is like not intentional, not deliberate, not coming from a place of self-love. And those two things just don't go together. And so that's why I always come at it from the foundation of like building this more intentional life for yourself. So I love that. And yeah, exactly. I love, of course, that spills over into every other aspect of your life, your relationships,
it really does.
your parenting, your work, your community. Like, it can't help but, because you literally start to become a different version of yourself.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, that new operating system is working much better than the old one.
Yes. Good. Amazing. Well, thank you, Carol. Thanks for taking some time to chat about CYB and what it's been for you. Are there any other thoughts or anything else you wanted to share about what CYB has been or your experience?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. It's been a life-changing experience, and I would just highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for growth and change and intentionality.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank